Okay, so guess what? A fun find today. A fine 4-H background. And so I'll let you introduce yourself and tell a little bit of your story because this is so classic and traditional.
Well, when you said 4-H,
Uh-huh.
it just, lit up my life
Yeah.
because that was what I did as a kid, and my parents were very involved in it. My mother was, at the time she died, the longest standing 4-H leader in the state of Montana. And I worked from high school, senior and high school on, in the summers in 4-H camps wherever the state office wanted to send me with my little pack of records and the make do PA system, and they'd tell me, do you teach square, go teach square dancing, go do their campfire ceremonies, take the Greyhound to wherever, and a county agent will meet you there, and you go to camp. So that was what I did early on, and then that's why I decided to get a college degree in recreation, was because of 4-H. And in the meantime, one of my best 4-H experiences was living in Bozeman. My dad raised milk and shorthorn cattle, which are about extinct now, and showed them quite widely. And so I got to ride on a boxcar with the cattle to the Great Falls Fair, and then a train would come along and pick us up and take us to the Billings Fair, and we showed our cattle in both those places. But we took them in a boxcar. They didn't truck them in those days.
Right.
So anyway, that's just a little bit of the background.
And so your mom, her name was?
Her name was Grace Smith. As a 4-H leader. Her name had been Letts when she grew up in Moccasin. And
she was a leader in Gallatin County?
She was, Gallatin County.
And then how long did you live in Bozeman?
After I got out of college, I married, lived in Indiana, and my kids were in 4-H a little bit, but Indiana, not living on a farm, that was the kind of 4-H that I knew for the most part, and so I didn't do a lot in Indiana with 4-H. I just was a stay-at-home mom and raised my kids and did not do that, but anyway, 4-H has just been dear to my heart forever.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that is so great. So who would have been your supervisor out of the 4-H center? Do you remember any of the names?
Well, Paul Moore was head of the office, and then Geraldine Finn was head of the kind of the recreation. And there was another really nice lady, and now I can't remember her name off the hand there. But those were the two that I worked for mostly. I do know Jim Glover worked there, and I had a little bit to do with him, but not much. I was pretty much done with that kind of a job at that point. So.
What years would that have been?
Well, let's see, probably 1950. I think I started in 1957 doing that, and I did that really just to 1958. Well, that's only 2 years. And I guess that's really true. I just did a lot of camps in those 2 years.
Feels like it was more, huh?
Well, I did a lot of camps in those 2 years. But, of course, taking the, being a 4-H member and doing all of the things, junior leadership. We had a big junior leaders group in Bozeman. And so that was fun. And the 4-H office in Bozeman, just the Gallatin County one, sent me to recreation camps. That's where I learned about a degree in recreation. They sent me to one in South Dakota, and then they sent me to another one in Idaho. I went. Chuck Collette was the one in Idaho.
And there is still, I mean, when I was in 4-H, there was still a recreation laboratory, they called it, a rec lab.
Rec lab.
That was
Black Hills Recreation Lab.
Yeah, that's
I
the
went
one.
there.
I did not get to go to that ever, but we do a statewide rec lab now.
Oh, do they?
And so
how neat.
teens still
I wish my working life had been in Montana, because I definitely would have found
it would have been
something
in 4-H.
in there. I would have been able to.
So tell a little bit about the trip to Scobie and going into Canada.
Oh, well, however, whatever camp I went to, I was to travel at the expense of the state 4-H office, or maybe the county paid my bill. All I know is I didn't pay my bill. And I would take a Greyhound to the county seat or wherever the Greyhound went to, and an
Uh-huh.
extension agent would meet me. And at one time I went to Scobie, and the extension agent there met me, and then we I can't remember the agent, and I drove, or I think we just got on a bus with the rest of the kids and went to Canada, to Lake Katapawa in Canada. And that's where that county had their 4-H camp. I did Little Bitterroot Lake, and that was a lot of the 4-H people from Browning, and that was a great experience. I got to go back to Browning and enjoy a lot of local fun back there, just because of the friends I made, and it was just a great part of my life.
Oh, this is so wonderful. Thank you for sharing those 4-H memories. That is fabulous.